So for dilations, you have to have your center, which is the point that it's expanding or shrinking from. And the scale factor is just, in this case, since we don't have coordinates, in this case it would be you look at the side length. Okay? And scale factor is always image length over pre-image length, or image coordinate over pre-image coordinate. Okay? So in this, which one is the image?
The big one.
The big one. How do we know?
Because the small one, the big one has the hash mark.
Right. The big one has the apostrophe. So is this going to be an enlargement or a reduction?
Enlargement.
Okay. So over here we can write enlarge. That's the type of dilation. Okay. Which point hasn't changed its location? Which point is still in the same place? D. So D is your center. And then the scale factor is the image over pre-image. So in this case, the image length would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the pre-image length is 2. So 6 over 2 reduces to 3. So this is an enlargement. It's 3 times larger. So your scale factor is basically a ratio. So think back to where we did similarity back in chapter 6, I believe it was. Okay. Now, you can have a slightly unusual dilation. This doesn't happen all the time. But if you notice, we started out with this pre-image, and this is the image. Is it an enlargement or a reduction to go from here to here? We reduced it in size. But what else do you see happen? It rotated. So your scale factor will be a negative. If your scale factor has a negative in front of it, it will enlarge or reduce the figure, but then it'll also turn it. Okay. So the center is point W. And then the scale factor is going to be negative something. Okay. So if the image rotates, your scale factor will be negative. So we need to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the pre-image was 7. The image looks like it's what, 1, 2, maybe 2.5. Hard to tell right there. So I'd say 2. So we'll keep it simple. So your scale factor is negative 2/7. The reason it's 7 over 2 is it didn't get bigger. Okay, it has to be by a number less than 1 if it reduces. So you made it 2/7 the size, and we rotated it. So a negative just means it's going to turn. It doesn't. The negative part doesn't affect the size. Okay. So if we go to an example with coordinates, let's flip there. This example. Now, if you're on a coordinate plane, remember scale factor is what you multiply by. So if our scale factor is 1/2, is this figure going to get larger or smaller? Smaller. So our coordinates for x are 1, negative 2. So if we take half, what's half of 1? 0.5. Half of negative 2 is negative 1. Okay, then we go down to y. Half of 4, 2. Half of negative 3, negative 1.5 or 1.5. Then z, half of 6. Half of negative 1. Negative 1/2 or negative 0.5. So then we can graph it. So this would be negative 1 or positive 1/2, negative 1. Put you right about there. 2, negative 1.5. And then 3, 1, 2, 3, negative 1/2. So it's pretty tiny. So it came out smaller, which is what we expect. Okay. And then for this example, scale factor 3. So what's going to happen to the image? Larger or smaller?
B would be 3.
So B would be what?
So it would be 3/7.
No, we don't add. Scale factor, you multiply. Always multiply.
So it would be 0.
So B would be 0,
Wait, Miss Phillips,
12.
you have the same problem, right?
Yes. A would be, what's the scale factor? If the scale factor is 3, negative 2 becomes negative 6, negative 9. And then C becomes 6, negative 12. So B, 0, 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right at the top. A, negative 6, negative 9, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is getting quite a bit bigger. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 12. So you have a pretty big triangle, and if it enlarges 3 times the size, that's what you should expect. So enlarge. So scale factor, well, we're going to change that. So scale factor is what you multiply by. Now these look like repeats, so what I want you guys to do is let's put a negative in front of these. So this is negative 1/2, and we'll make this one negative 3. That way you can see how it rotates. Okay. And then on the very back, or the second page here, it's basically the same thing. So we're not going to review this one again. Okay, these top two, they give you scale factor, so you simply multiply the coordinate. And then down here, we don't even have the picture, but you don't need it. You have the coordinates, you multiply by the scale factor. This is 0.1, so if you need your calculator, get a calculator, multiply by 0.1, and you're just writing the new coordinates. Okay? So the things to remember is scale factor is what you multiply either lengths by if you're not on the coordinate plane, or you multiply the xy coordinates. And if your scale factor is negative, it's going to turn your figure. Okay? So that is pretty much the basics of dilation.